Here I am. And then I disappear. Hi, I'm Skip Alsheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime Streaming Show, where we watch old 16mm films. And that was a Castle film, which was using footage probably from a newsreel. But they made this and distributed it for homes. So this is an early way that entertainment and general interest or special interest films were distributed, and mostly through either catalog sales, or they would have films at camera stores where you bought your motion picture film or your camera or your projector, and they were very successful. So Castle was, early home video, and oftentimes it would be silent. And they would put in intertitles, and they did this with cartoons that they kind of reduced down, and also comedy shorts, especially Abbott and Costello. All right, so 16mm films, that's what we collect, that's what we show, and what do we got set up? Egg grades. Egg grades. Are you ready? This is a matter of quality. Egg grades. Enjoy.
Grade A, Double A.
Turns out I've already seen this one. I'm sorry. Yeah, like I did a search, I thought, for it. Let me check this next film. Yeah, that happens every once in a while. It was titled just a little bit different, and I had shown it back in. It was about a year ago, so we're not going to watch that one again. But we are going to watch this one, Man with a Stick. Enjoy.
A pity, so young, so straight and tall, probably an athlete before. Feel better? He wears a blindfold so that he can teach those who are blind how to get around by themselves. Voluntarily, he shuts out the sun, the sight of kids at play, the glance of a pretty girl. There must be an easier way to earn that daily dollar, if that dollar is all you're after. But as we all know, man doesn't live by bread alone. There are plenty of men at the Industrial Home for the Blind of Brooklyn and similar agencies who count in their paychecks not only the dollars, but the satisfaction of teaching a blind man to step out alone, independently, happily, toward the light, like Joe here. Joe's got a long way to go. Not so long ago, Joe never left his chair by the window, listening to the world outside, a world he thought was lost forever. He'd get up to grope and stumble through the apartment, restless and frustrated, obsessed with an unreasonable irritation. And that's how Keen finds him, and is glad to find him that way, good and sore, shows he's still in there swinging, even if at the wrong people. Mad at the world, the seeing world. Mad at Keen, another one of those who can see. But Maggie's just the gal who knows how to handle a sailor when he gets thick. She's doubling in brass now, keeping the place going and seeing that Joe keeps going. Downstairs, the cane is put in Joe's hands. Properly used, it can help take him anywhere. Around the corner for pipe tobacco, across town to that new job or that new show or that old friend, to a train, a plane, an ocean liner. So listen and learn. Hold it so, crook down, index finger along the cane. It adds 40 inches to your index finger. Long? Yes, but light. Light enough to carry all day and never tire your wrist. Now hold your hand front and center. Swing the cane left to right. You've got to swing as wide as your body. Stay in it and stay safe. Clear the way for the coming step. Swing left, step right. Swing right, step left. Got the rhythm? Okay, try it alone. Keep the cane centered. Swing that arc even. You're doing fine. 5. No use pushing it. Couldn't push it if he tried. And what a relief to sit down. Back aches, neck's stiff. Feels like he's walked 1,000,000 miles. The next morning, Joe's waiting for Keen. He's raring to go, trying too hard, and Keen knows it. Knows it by Joe's tight grip. Knows it by Joe's grim lips. Knows it by Joe's body bent forward. It's a strange feeling, walking alone and unseeing. Joe wants to throw up an arm to protect his face, but he pushes it forward in an effort to hear until it seems to taper into all nose. There are children's shouts and heels clicking and snatches of conversation and a laugh. The roar of a truck. Sounds come at him from all sides. And underfoot, the smallest crack comes up to snag his cane. He'll never learn. He feels it's all a fake, but he keeps going. It's that or back to the armchair. But as Joe keeps trying, he begins to like and trust Keen a bit. He learns to keep walking a straight line. He learns that sidewalks all slope to the curb. He feels that slope with his feet. His cane tells him by the rattly hollow sound where cellar doors are. One of them may be open. He knows when he walks too near the curb, his cane hits air, a fire plug, or a lamppost. He learns by listening. The tap of his cane amplifies when he passes an open door. His nose tells him when he's passing the butcher, the barber, the cleaner. There's the sun on his cheek when he gets to that open lot. The changes in the sidewalk paving are as good as street signs to him. He listens, he smells, he feels. Sounds, odors, touches begin to fall into familiar grooves. He makes a great discovery. Things smell, sound, and feel the same way as before he lost his sight. Nothing's changed. Everything is still there, waiting for him. And he's got to tell Keene all about it. And Keene says, fine, fine. Let's have a cup of coffee on it across the street. You've got to get across the street. It's like taking your first swim alone. It's like asking your girl for that first kiss. It's like facing up to a bully. It's like all the firsts you ever took and survived. Let's go. Let's get across the street. You listen for cross traffic. Traffic in front, on right and left. Probe forward with the cane. Place toes and shoulders parallel to the curb. Wait for Keene to guide you across. He takes your arm. Better take his instead, okay? Let's go. Hold the cane tip in front of left foot, just off the ground. Not low enough. Let's try again. Let's recross. Now probe your front, square off, listen for traffic. Where there's a traffic light, there's always a box switch. You can hear it click. Off we go, down with that cane tip. That's the ticket. The next morning finds Keene waiting at an appointed spot, a little nervous. Joe's doing his first solo. And here comes Joe, crossing the street, hand in pocket, confident. He'll still make plenty of mistakes, but not any more because of fear. Joe is over that hump. It's going to be a bus ride today. When it pulls up, listen for the sound of the opening door. Probe forward with your cane. Get your hand on the bar. The first step is wide. The second brings you up to the driver. Get a seat near him. Depend on him. He won't let you pass your stop. Joe will try it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. He gets to know the route by the street pavings, by the turns, the traffic cop whistles, the jouncing over car tracks or cobblestones. It's best not to rise till the bus stops. Now, use the cane, step down, probe out, and step off. Keene and Joe soon try the subway. The handrail leads him down along with the crowd. He walks toward the click of the turnstiles, the clink of the change booth. He finds the platform edge with his cane, steps back, and starts walking. He uses the line of posts as a guide. At the center of the platform, he faces the edge and waits. He'll hear the hum of the wheels long before the train pulls in. Here it comes with a whoosh and a clatter. Now, listen for opening doors. Face toward the nearest one. There's always someone to offer an arm. Joe will have to ask directions at first. Soon, he will learn by sensing the track turns, by counting the stations, by the longer express stops. All these will be signposts against the time when he will take that daily trip to his new job. You're on your way, Joe. Our hats are off to you and to all who will follow.
That was great. So actually, I have a couple of films that are made for training the blind or training people on how to walk with the blind or interact with the blind. Really fascinating. And obviously that film was not made for people who are blind, but for people who are training people who are blind. And also probably general interest, and maybe for fundraising as well. You could show this to a social organization and do some fundraising and say, like, look, here's some information about what we do to train the blind so that they can lead a relatively normal life out in the world. Anyways, fascinating. So behind me I have a film scanner, and I have a second film from that Give and Take series that we watched yesterday, where we saw the college girls trying to make some money painting a crotchety woman's house, in spite of the warnings of the father of one of the girls. This is Give and Take credit-wise. Let's see what it's. I'm hoping this is as sitcom-y as what we saw yesterday. Enjoy.
The following is presented by the Joint Council on Economic Education and the Canadian Foundation for Economic Education. Tina Leland and Becky Houston on an ordinary shopping trip.
Becky, come here, come here, come here, come here, come here. Isn't that pretty? Oh, come on, it's neat.
One of them will use credit to pay for her purchases. She will learn the reality of consumer credit and the meaning of opportunity costs.
Now, you gotta like this. That is beautiful. Yeah, it's all right. I'm gonna get it. I can't decide. I'll get both.
Both?
Sure. You getting something?
No. If I buy a purse, I won't have the cash to get my tape deck fixed.
Ooh, and I'll take one of these, too.
Will that be cash or charge?
Charge.
Becky Houston knows the meaning of scarcity and opportunity costs. She knows that opportunity cost means that if she spends her limited funds on one thing, she must give up something else. An idea that Tina Leland doesn't yet understand.
All that money and you're not even going to buy a shirt?
I know, they're nice, but I really want to get my
tape deck fixed. Honestly, Becky, why'd you come shopping if you're not going to buy anything?
I'm sorry, but the credit limit on your mother's card has been reached.
Really? So soon?
I'm afraid so.
You'll have to loan me the money.
No way, you've got money.
This? I can't use it. It's for my car brakes. Come on, you have $30. Your tape deck won't be ready till next week. I'll pay you back Monday.
All right, the way you paid back Allison and Mary Jo.
I didn't pay back Allison? Well, I'll pay you back. You're my best friend.
Tina Leland, popular, smart, but an impulse spender.
I've got to have it.
But it costs $85, Tina. I thought that was for your brakes.
It was.
And you're gonna spend it on the jacket?
$30 down and $55 at the end of the month. Then I get the jacket, right?
That's right.
But what about your brakes?
Don't tell me about the brakes again. Now, can you hold this for me?
Opportunity costs, a reality that Tina Leland will soon have to face.
Thanks.
So, what is opportunity cost?
I know Tina Leland pretty well. She's been postponing getting her brakes fixed for weeks. Now she's gonna spend her money buying a new jacket. She doesn't have enough money to buy both, right? So, getting her brakes fixed is the opportunity cost of getting the jacket.
Yesterday I heard Becky say that she wanted to buy a t-shirt, but she also wants to get her tape deck fixed. I guess she didn't have money for both. So when she decided to get her tape deck fixed, the t-shirt became the opportunity cost.
If Becky lends money to Tina and doesn't get paid back, the opportunity cost of that loan will be getting her tape deck fixed.
What's opportunity cost? Let me tell you. Last week I had $15 and I wanted to take my girlfriend to the movies, and I also wanted to buy this new shirt. So what happened?
His opportunity cost was a movie with me.
So, opportunity costs are the things you give up when making one choice instead of another. But why not use credit and get both?
Using credit means buying now. Of course, you still have to pay for it in the future.
But you have to give up the opportunity of buying other things when you repay the loan.
And they charge interest, which means you have to give up even more things.
Whether you use credit or not, opportunity costs are the things you give up when making one choice instead of another.
Didn't you get those brakes fixed?
Next month, okay? When I get my next allowance.
You can't afford to keep your car safe. You can't drive it.
I'll do it soon, Daddy, really.
You're not driving that car anywhere until you get the brakes fixed. Give me the keys.
Tina, is that you?
Hi, Mom. Be right with you.
Oh, I've been waiting for you. Could you bring me my credit card, please, dear? I need to run out and get a couple of things before the store's closed and I'm out of cash. Did you hear me, dear? I'm in a hurry.
One little problem, Mom. You can't use the card.
Why not? Did you lose it?
No. I've just charged up to the limit on it, that's all.
You did what?
Well, just for the things I needed, honestly.
Give me that card. You reach more than the card's limit, Tina. You reach mine as well. The next time you charge anything on a credit card, it's going to be your own.
Mom, that'll take forever.
That's precisely what I mean, Tina.
Lola, don't you understand? I've got to get the brakes fixed. If I don't, I won't get the car back.
Sorry, you still owe me $2 from the movies last week.
So? Now I'll owe you more. Think of how rich you'll be.
Possibly, if I charge you interest.
Interest? You never charged me interest before.
Well, I am now. Look, Tina, credit allows you to buy now and pay later, but interest is the cost of using credit. Besides, I could be earning interest in my savings account instead of lending this to you. Sign here.
Becky, you gotta loan me some money.
It's Wednesday.
What?
It's Wednesday, and my tape deck is ready, and I really want it, but I can't pick it up thanks to you. Oh, I'll pay you back first thing on Monday. I've had it with you, Tina. Come and find me when you've got the cash.
Can you loan me a couple of dollars?
Sure.
We're doing adjectives and things, and we're going to have a test on Monday.
On Monday?
Good morning.
Morning, dear.
Tina, your mother and I have decided to lend you the $50 you need to get the brakes fixed on your car.
Thanks, Dad. Mom, that's great.
But we're going to deduct half of your allowance each week until you pay us back in full.
Sure, anything.
Hey, Tina, now can I have my 15?
May I have your attention, please? Today's pep assembly will begin at 3:45 in the gym.
Hi. I have part of what I owe you. My father gave me some money this morning. It's $10 because I have to pick up the jacket this week. It's the end of the month, you know.
You know, Tina, you have yourself in debt with more people than I can count, and all you think about is that jacket.
Come on, Becky. It's a great jacket. I almost have enough, too.
Yeah. You'll have your designer jacket, but you won't have any friends, and you won't have any credit with anybody either. You can't just spend and not pay people back.
Well, you never spend a dime. At least I enjoy myself.
Do you, Tina?
Opportunity costs and consumer credit closing in on Tina Leland. So, when can credit cause problems?
When you get in over your head, like Tina.
And when you don't realize that using credit just postpones your payments. Credit usually makes buying something more expensive because you have to pay interest.
Yeah. Like if I bought a lot of stuff that I couldn't pay for, my parents would make me take it all back. You can't just borrow and never repay.
Credit has responsibilities. If you don't repay, you lose your chance to borrow later on.
So, what's good about credit?
Credit comes in handy sometimes. Like when my parents give me the credit card to go shopping, I don't have to carry cash, and I have a good record of exactly what I spend.
Using credit means I don't have to worry about losing my money or being robbed.
If there's a sale and you don't have cash, you can use credit to take advantage of the lower prices. Even with interest charges, you could still end up saving money.
Yeah, and for some very expensive items like cars, credit helps to spread out the payments a little bit at a time, and also lets you enjoy the car while you're paying for it.
So, what's good about credit? Well, credit is convenient. It provides a record, and it is safer than cash. You can buy sale items without paying cash, and you can have use of products while paying for them. Credit has advantages and disadvantages. But regardless, you have to remember the responsibilities and that everything has an opportunity cost.
But you can't raise the interest rate. I'm too broke.
Sorry, if you want more money, you have to pay a higher rate of interest.
But it's only $10.
10 of my dollars. You're a bad credit risk, Tina. Bad risks have to pay a higher rate of interest than good risks do.
You mean I have to pay more interest because you're afraid I might not pay you back?
Yes, but it's more than that. The higher rate protects me against inflation and rising prices. By the time you get around to paying me back, the $10 won't buy what it buys today, you know. Sign here.
That's pulling the pacemakers.
Okay, miss. Just tell me, how does this whole thing happen?
I've got to have it. But what about your brakes?
You're not driving that car anywhere until you get the brakes fixed.
You can't just spend and not pay people back.
Okay.
Poor Tina. If she had only understood the meaning of opportunity costs in consumer credit. What then? The content for Give and Take was developed with funds from a consortium of 45 state and provincial education agencies. Other funds were provided by these corporations and foundations. Additional support was provided by the Office of Consumers Education, U.S. Department of Education. This program was produced by the Educational Film Center under the supervision of AIT, the Agency for Instructional Television.
It is kind of like a sitcom. I'll have to find more episodes of that. 1982. I think I was in high school. What's interesting is that I noticed, like, those that were going into college were taking math, like algebra, calculus, and those that were not pursuing college were taking consumer math, where people learned how to balance a checkbook and learned about interest and things like that. And honestly, I should have taken that class. I, certainly used my math in college, but really what is impacting me daily was, or at the time, in college, was my not 100% understanding how interest worked, not knowing how to balance a checkbook, having to learn that, and that was hard. So, anyways, I think it's something that should be required. These films, I think, should be shown to everybody in high school, or maybe even in middle school at this point, because it is so important. All right, so we've been digitizing stuff for different entities, and this was from the Perlinger Archive, and this one is also a cautionary tale. Quacks and Nostrums. Enjoy.
I feel as if my brain was going to explode. I can't think of one more idea for the life of me.
Give up?
Yes. Let's stow this for now. Maybe I'll think of something tomorrow.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Lewis.
Hi, Mom.
Oh, it's getting chilly out. Uh-huh.
Well, how'd it go?
Oh, it was very interesting. Wait till I tell you all about it. Oh, thank you, dear. Just put it on that chair. What luck with your paper, son?
Not much, I'm afraid.
Oh.
I made a few suggestions, but your son didn't seem to think much of them.
Oh.
Oh, no wonder. I've got to write a term paper on health education. And all the brain here can think of is a report on the natural superiority of women.
What a splendid idea, Helen.
There, you see? Even your mother agrees. How was your lecture?
Oh, wonderful, simply wonderful. Heavens, that man must be a genius. He's so humble and so sincere and so compelling.
He sounds fascinating.
Well, his name is Aluka Kahumana. And he comes from one of those tiny remote islands in the South Seas. Oh, it must be a heavenly place. He showed us color slides of it this evening. And Larry, can you imagine? Mr. Kahumana's people scarcely know the meaning of the word sick. Sounds incredible, doesn't it?
It sure does. I must remember not to go there when I become a doctor.
They maintain perfect health through the use of just one basic medicine.
This?
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
Well, it's a kind of tea.
Smells like peppermint.
Well, it's made up of special herbs, and the formula has been carefully guarded and handed down from one generation to another.
Mother, so that's what this is. The secret of health, all the way from the South Seas. How much?
Well, $4.50. But, Larry, you can't expect...
Mom, a quack is a quack, whether he comes from the South Seas or lives right here in the city. All he's interested in is taking money from people.
Now, Larry, you know that I haven't been feeling very well lately, and according to Mr. Kahumanu, this tea is just what I need, and
Mom,
so...
if you're not feeling well, go see Dr. Evans. He's a licensed MD. You can trust him. The fellow that sold you this stuff sounds like a phony.
Oh, Larry, don't be silly. Why, I saw letters tonight, read them with my own eyes, that testified that this tea had cured ailments exactly like mine. Bilious attacks, stomach pain.
Mom, listen. This
now,
stuff...
Larry, I know exactly what's wrong with me, and I'm convinced that I have the cure right here. So why should I bother going to Dr. Evans? Now, you just worry about your term paper, not about me. Good night, Helen.
Good night, Mrs. Lewis.
How do you like that? My own mother falling for that stuff.
Well, you don't know, Larry. Maybe Dr. Hoo-Ha can help her.
Doctor? That guy's no doctor. He's a quack. I'd sure like to hear what a real doctor has to say about him. As a matter of fact... I understand, Doctor. There's nothing you can do unless my mother asks you.
These quacks, once they get to a patient, anything can happen. Proper treatment can be delayed often until it's too late. Many people would go to a doctor earlier if they didn't trust some quack who is doing nothing for them. That's what makes a quack so dangerous.
But isn't there anything you can do about them?
Oh, yes. Yes, there's the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. That's enforced by the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration. Then there's the Federal Trade Commission. They check on the false advertising of health products. Then the Post Office Department. They crack down on the sale of fake medicines and devices by mail. On a number of state and municipal agencies. The American Medical Association does a great job of protecting the medical profession and the public against fraud and improper advertising. It's a very serious business, Larry. Quacks and their nostrums can kill.
Quacks in their nostrums. I have to do a paper for my health ed course, Doctor, and it just occurred to me that this would make a good topic.
Quacks and nostrums are a very good topic, and important too. Maybe I could give you some leads that would help. But certainly I would first go to the Food and Drug Administration. Show them some of this. I'm sure they'd be interested.
Where did your mother buy this?
She went to a lecture last Friday at the Hotel Rhinelander. Some guy from the South Seas...
Kahumana.
You know him?
Mm-hmm. We try to have one of our men cover these so-called health meetings and lectures. We've had our eye on him for some time. Now, this tea is composed of ground orris root, dog grass, peppermint leaf, and Paraguay tea.
It's not harmful.
Well, the tea itself isn't harmful, but if anyone is really sick, takes this tea instead of going to the doctor, the result can be fatal. This is absolutely worthless as a cure for any known illness.
What about testimonials? Now, this guy showed my mother some pretty convincing letters.
Well, that's what the quack uses for bait, and they're just as phony as the medicine. Now, some quacks write their own, others buy them. And some people write testimonials in good faith when they think they've been cured or will be cured. One investigation by the American Medical Association showed that some of the people who wrote the testimonials died before their letters appeared in print of the diseases they thought were cured. And we have had the same experience investigating these quack treatments.
Well, this Kahumana is making false claims and peddling phony medicine. Why don't you arrest him?
Well, first we have to prove that the stuff is being sold across state lines. If it isn't, then we turn the case over to the state authorities to handle. But if it is, then we prepare a case against him for violation of the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. And then we turn all this information over to the United States Attorney for presentation in the federal court. Then they take over.
I didn't realize there was so much to it. As a result of all this, I'm doing a paper on Quacks and Nostrums. And I'm just beginning to see the amount of work that goes into protecting people from them.
Well, we're only one agency that protects the public. If it would help, I'd be glad to show you around a bit. It might give you an idea of what we're doing.
Well, if you've got time, that'd be great.
Well, let's go.
What is it?
It's as phony as they come. Believe me, we get some mighty queer so-called therapeutic devices around here. This one doesn't do anything. Here, let me show you. You wear it this way when you go to bed. This end fits into a pan of water. Of course, you must lie with your head pointed to magnetic north and your body parallel with the magnetic field. Even a little compass was included in this deal.
The thing's supposed to pick up magnetic forces, huh?
That's right, supposed to do all sorts of wonderful things for you.
And people actually bought it?
Just as fast as this guy could make them. The only trouble was the quack who dreamed it up made the mistake of sending literature about it through the mail. And a customer complained to the post office department. Now, when the people in the post office department find someone using the mails to defraud, they call him in to answer charges. Oh, that's one outfit it doesn't pay to fool around with.
What do they do?
They can publish a fraud order against the individual, which stops mail from being delivered to him and cuts off his revenue. They can also consider the possibility of criminal prosecution. Medical investigation in post office cases is handled by our Bureau of Medicine.
Can anyone make a complaint?
Absolutely, if it's in writing. Any person who discovers one of these fake health schemes and reports it is doing a real service.
A lot depends on what claims are actually made for a product, doesn't it?
Ah, now you're getting into labeling. Mislabeling or misbranding is a very serious offense. We keep a file of drug labels. Now, labels on drugs are very important. We see that they state what the medicine is recommended for, the dosage, how often to take it, and for how long. Whether it's recommended for children and when it should not be taken. Now, according to the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, drugs must comply with certain standards. Now, for some drugs, the label sets the standard. It tells what ingredients are present. And for others, the formula is set forth in the U.S. Pharmacopoeia and the National Formulary. Now, drugs described in these official books are known as official drugs. And they don't need a list of ingredients on the label. But they do have to contain the exact ingredients specified in the official text. If they differ in strength, quality, or purity, the label has to say so. Now, we examine thousands of product samples each year, concentrating on those manufacturers whose products we have learned from experience do not always meet the required standards.
What about drugs that you get by prescription?
Well, nowadays there are many powerful drugs that are not safe to take without a doctor's supervision. And under federal law, they cannot be sold without a prescription. Now, these drugs are not labeled the same as those consumers can buy on their own. But you can rely upon your doctor and your pharmacist. They're both professionally trained men. A druggist must have received training at an accredited college. Now, drugstores have an important place in our health services, and they can be very useful if you just remember to follow your doctor's advice, not expect the druggist to prescribe for you, and to check your labels carefully. And be mighty skeptical about anything that claims to be a cure-all, or is advertised to do more than the label says it will. A great part of our job, of course, is ensuring that foods are pure and wholesome and made under sanitary conditions and so forth. But since you're writing about quacks and nostrums, we'll stay with medical things. Now, this is a sample taken from a batch of coal tar dye. It's used in certain cosmetics. Now, our job is to make sure that it's one of the certifiable dyes, recognized as safe for use, and taken from a certifiable batch. Now, these are samples taken from manufacturers' batches of insulin and antibiotic drugs. We test them for purity and potency before they're sold. Of course, new drugs are always coming along, and we make sure that they've been tested and found to be safe before they're put on the market.
And if I ever get wind of a character like Oluka Kahumana again, I won't lose any time reporting him.
Good. Tell your mother the wisest thing is to see a family doctor, not rely on something sold by a high-powered lecturer.
I'll tell her, and thanks. But, Mom, listen.
Now, I'm sure that those government people are experts at their work. But ever since I've been taking Mr. Kahumana's tea, I've felt simply wonderful. Why, I never knew that a remedy could be so effective. Why, I haven't been having my usual attacks at all. Now, why is that if it isn't because of Mr. Kahumana's tea?
Well, you've got to admit that your mother's been looking and feeling wonderful since she started taking the tea. Larry, maybe those government people don't really know. I mean, I know they're sincere and all that, but, well, you can see the difference.
Oh, for Pete's sake. I just don't get it, Doctor. Every time I ask her how she's feeling, it's fine, just fine. And yet the FDA said the stuff is absolutely no good. And she does seem to be feeling better the past few weeks. It just doesn't make sense to me.
It's possible, Larry, that your mother wasn't really sick at all. Many of the people that quacks claim to have cured weren't sick in the first place. Sometimes, of course, some of the symptoms disappear by themselves for a while. The pain and the disturbance are gone temporarily, and the patient decides that he's been cured until the symptoms reappear. But we have the assurance of the FDA that the tea is harmless, which is something to be thankful for. We just have to wait to see if your mother's symptoms return. Well, how's the investigation coming along? What about quacks and nostrums?
Oh, fine, Doctor. I had no idea we were such suckers about our health. And I didn't know so much was being done to protect us against quacks and fake medicine. Look at these pamphlets the Better Business Bureau sent me.
Oh. Yes, they do a fine job, too.
I found out that they have over 100 offices handling all kinds of complaints. When they get a report on a quack or fake medicine or device, they're right in there quick.
And don't forget the American Medical Association. Its Bureau of Investigation has the most complete file in existence of such things as quacks and nostrums. They act as sort of a clearinghouse for information of that kind. Well, what's next on the agenda?
The Federal Trade Commission, tomorrow afternoon. I've learned that it's easy to get reliable information about health products and services, but I'd like to know about health information that comes to us from advertising.
That's what we call commercial health information. It's a mighty big business. Millions of dollars are spent to advertise health products, vitamin pills, nerve pills, and all kinds of pills and other medicines for all kinds of aches and pains. You see, sometimes the advertising can be deceptive. And if the product is sold or advertised in interstate commerce, that's where the Federal Trade Commission comes in. In some cases, if the advertising is inaccurate for things like cosmetics, deodorants, and hair tonics and so forth, people might use the product in ways that could injure their health.
Inaccurate? Aren't they actually lying?
Well, some ads don't really make any claims at all. They just seem to. Tricky wording is what does it. Some advertisers deal in glittering generalities. Others use the plain folks line of approach. Then there's the splashy bandwagon type of ad. But many deal in out-and-out false claims.
What action do you take when you find that false or deceptive advertising has been used?
Well, the commission issues a complaint against them, and if the charge is approved, orders them to stop the advertising. If they want to protest the order, or if they violate it, the FTC is ready to fight the case in the courts.
I see. Better get some of this down.
No, Larry, but I think you're going overboard on this report.
Well, Dr. Evans doesn't think so. And he ought to know. Mom? Oh, Mom?
Larry, would you please come here right away?
Ellen, you'll find Dr. Evans' number on the desk. Tell him to get over here as fast as he can. What is it, Doctor?
I can't be sure till we get her to the hospital and take some x-rays, but I strongly suspect that it's gallbladder trouble. It's easy to see how she was fooled into thinking that fake medicine would cure her. First those bilious attacks, then a period of apparent normalcy. It's fairly typical. But I wouldn't worry, Larry. She'll be back on her feet before long, really cured this time. Well, I'll get an ambulance and phone the hospital to make arrangements.
Hi, how's the convalescent?
Oh, I'm just fine. Hello, Helen, dear. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks.
Good.
You're looking better every day.
Oh, thank you.
I don't want to rub it in, but I thought you'd like to see what's happened to your Mr. Kahumana. He's been indicted by the grand jury for violating the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act.
Oh. When I think of all the men and women who could be seriously ill going to a man like that, a man who's only interested in their money, can't be sorry that he's going to jail. People who should go to a doctor could go on believing in a fake like him until it was too late.
You were lucky.
Oh, but he seemed so honest and sincere.
Wow, making life adjustments should you drink. Man, I gotta find those films. Those sound fascinating, because obviously these are not made for kids. These are made for young adults or even just adults. Wow, that was a great film. Always a big fan of films that try to talk about the quacks and all the fake cures. There was a museum. It was at the Science Museum in Minneapolis I went to, and they had a small exhibit. There used to be like a whole building that was dedicated to collections of all these quack devices, but it got acquired by the museum, Science Museum, and so they have like a little section that shows some of this stuff. It was pretty great, fascinating, and of course, again, we need to watch this all the time because it keeps coming back. The same things that were being touted 100 years ago, coming back again. With the same reasoning, the same logic, the same problems being solved. We just haven't changed. We just do not change. Thanks for tuning in today. As always, we very much appreciate your eyeballs and your comments. Please hit the thumbs up, the like, the subscribe buttons. That will allow us to acquire another one of these plaques from YouTube. You can also donate to us via the Super Thanks option in the comments, or the ko-fi.com/avgeeks. That's a way to buy us coffee. Or patreon.com/avgeeks. That's a way to buy us DVD cases. Yeah. Anyways, everybody have a great rest of your day, and we'll be back again tomorrow. Everybody take care. It's great seeing you. Bye.